All right, welcome back. We're with Mike Vann, president of the Vann Group, located in Springfield. Mike, thanks for taking the time on a Friday afternoon.
Well, thanks for having me, Aaron. It's good to catch up.
It's March 27th. We've had a heck of a week in the stock market from a volatility standpoint. How's your week been?
It's been like everybody else's, a roller coaster. I've been telling clients, the whole key at this point is just to make it to the end of the ride without getting sick.
So at this point in time, what is the Vann Group? I know there was Dufault Van Corella, which was the accounting firm. You're specifically a business consultant. What other tentacles involve the Vann Group at this point?
Yeah, so I focus primarily on the Vann Group, which is strategic consulting and transactional advisory, services. So we work with companies that are focused on how do we grow in building their systems and processes for that, their strategies for that, succession transition planning of those who are looking to, eventually exit. And then we do the transactional side, which is we either buy or sell companies. So we do a lot of different things within those frameworks, but we're typically working with owners of privately held small, mid-sized businesses who are, focused on growth and making money.
Is it industry specific, or do you have a geographical location that you stick to?
We're industry and geographic agnostic, so it goes everything from, your traditional manufacturing and construction to industrial services and professional services. So it covers the gamut. We take the approach that business is business, regardless of the industry.
So as a consultant, you're getting hammered with phone calls right now because this morning they just passed a federal stimulus package. So I know it's probably a lot of reading that we need to do this weekend, but for now, what do we know so far? What can you tell us about, break it down, high level? What can we expect from a small business perspective?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously the largest relief package in the history of the United States, $2 trillion, and I think a week ago when they started talking about this, it was $1 trillion. So it's doubled over that time period. There's a lot of different pieces to it. I mean, the bill is like anything in Congress, this thick, but, we'll focus on, kind of the key piece right now of what matters to the business owners. And that's been the payroll protection program, which is the money they're going to make available that will potentially be forgiven as it relates to payroll costs, utilities, rent, and mortgage interest. That seems to be the big piece that everyone wants to know about. Even though there's other, there's the SBA disaster relief loans and some SBA deferment pieces. This one right now is the one that's really, caught everyone's attention.
So basically, a business owner would have the ability to make payroll, get a loan to make payroll in these types of expenses, and then if they follow certain guidelines, it turns into a grant at some point in time, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So there's a formula, and I believe it's 2.5 times, gross payroll costs that over for a month. So it's basically it covers a 10-week period, 2.5 times. That's the value of the loan, and I'm trying to remember right off the top if mortgage costs and things get included in that. But over the period, let's say it's the 8-week period following funding, whether that means it's funding today because that's when the program starts, or when you actually receive your funds, you can get that amount that was paid towards those costs forgiven. Provided you maintain the headcount and that headcount at a 75% of the payroll expense. If it drops below that, then it starts to get prorated.
Now, pivoting to more on the employee side of things, if I'm an employee of one of these small business owners, and I'm hanging out there, I know I'm not working, I'm collecting my last week of salary or whatever, last week's paycheck, and I'm concerned if the owner of my business is even going to consider this. What do you tell employees of these firms at this point?
That's been all over the place because we've seen, some industries like the restaurants and hotels and stuff just been completely shut. We have some clients who've been really impacted because they're in the event-driven space. So those ones have, it's a harder conversation as to when are you coming back. I think the intent with the law is the way it's structured is, let's hope the restaurants here in Massachusetts open up again April 7th and in that time frame. This will at least provide some of the working capital to owners, to be able to fund bringing those employees back. Even though they're not going to have that check today, there's at least the promise of that capital. If you're dealing with some of these other companies, I mean, we've seen everything from, people furloughing, individuals to maintain that health insurance component, to some job sharing, to reductions in compensation just across the board. Everyone's going to take a 20% cut, or everyone's going to take a day off, whatever it may be. So we've seen a lot of creative moves by business owners to keep their team in place.
What does furlough mean specifically to one employee?
So furlough means they're not laying them off, right? So they're not going to go collect unemployment, but they're going to be able to maintain their benefits, right? So they're going to come back without having to go through the unemployment process. And the intent with a furlough is it's ideally very temporary, right? Where a layoff has the appearance of being, more permanent. And the challenge for that is that if you're on furlough, you don't get to collect unemployment. So I think that's going to be, for us, start of those conversations, if this drags out a bit, is do we furlough or do we lay people off? Because the unemployment side of this is, you're going to be able to collect pretty quickly. And there's, I believe it's a $600 extra a month for individual employees, to collect over the next 3 or 4 months of this if they're on unemployment. So there's going to be some balancing to that, I think.
Looking forward, is there anything specific, like as we do all our reading this weekend, what are you going to be looking for specifically? Are there specific things in the fine print that you're going to be looking for, or is it just kind of like everything?
I missed the question.
So as we do our reading this weekend, are there specific, like, what do we not know yet? What's very unclear? What are you specifically looking for in the new literature?
Yeah, so I think a couple of things just that jump right away is, I was reading today that there's a cap on the amount of compensation for an individual that goes into this. It's up to $100,000. So amounts in excess of that $100,000 are not included in the formula. So it's clarifying that, is that employee excluded completely from the calculation, or is it just the amounts over in excess of $100,000? That's one. Another one is, how does this impact if you've got multiple entities? Is it going to be a combined situation looking at this, or does a loan go for each and every entity? Do you have to do that process? I mean, the indication I've got is that's not the case. This is important, obviously, if you're, franchisees or restaurants or, things like that have got multiple locations. Are you going to be able to do this as a single application, or do you have to do this for each and every, business entity that you have? So.
That can be amazingly impactful to the business. Yeah, for sure. So looking forward here, more on the opportunity. So everybody staying home is going to be distinct, hits of the economy. There already has been. I mean, yesterday we filed a historic jobless claims number of almost 3.3 million in this country. When the biggest one since then was like 695,000. Trying to spin this into any sort of opportunistic view as a business owner or different industries, is there anything that like you've seen that's creative or maybe something to gain from, or take some sort of opportunistic view to gain an advantage against your competition in respective industries?
Yeah, I mean, I think every crisis creates its own opportunities. We've started putting together a workshop for, a quick couple-hour workshop for companies to go through a process of, all right, what are those opportunities going to be for us? How are we going to deal with what happens, when we get back in what's going to happen in those next 30 days, what we want to do in those next 90 days, and where do we want to get to in a year? Because we've seen with these types of things, there are fundamental changes. I mean, just, you and I are having a meeting right now on Zoom, which, and I don't know how many hours I've been on Zoom this week, but it's been substantial. And as much as we're going to,
all of that, more than I've slept.
So, those are the types of things you see. And I mean, so just, if you're in office furniture, how does that get impacted if now people are going to ramp up for more remote working? Are they going to, absorb that and love it, or people can be like, no, I really want to be in an office environment now because I've been home for 3-4 weeks and it's not everything it's cracked up to be. So there's always going to be different opportunities that pop up because there's fundamental changes to it. So, part of what we're working with some of our clients is, well, let's figure out what those things are. There may be some great opportunities to hire that come out of this because, unfortunately, there are going to be some companies that aren't going to make it through this. Where we're seeing a lot of our clients focus too is, what's that wish list of projects that you've had, the things you always wanted to get to?
Right.
Got clients who, some downtime right now, they're focusing on those. Those are going to help them be better prepared for when they pop out of this. So,
kind of like these videos with challenging audio quality, Steelers helmets in the background, and kids popping into every couple of videos.
Yeah.
So, this isn't exactly a grade A studio for video and audio quality, but
no, but
anyway, we're piecing it together as we go. So I appreciate the time for sure. How could if I'm a business owner and I want to use your services, website, phone number, what do you got?
Yeah, so you can reach us at website, which is Vann, VANN-group.com. The general email we got is letsgo@vann-group.com. Phone number is 413-543-2776. And we've established a crisis response team right now that, myself, my partners, Kevin and Nick, trying to just reach out to business owners who need help guiding them through this. So whether it's, all right, which of these loan applications should we go through? Do we need help with cash flow modeling? Do we need help on that strategy side to think through things? What are our options? Our team is here to help with that.
Cool. So we'll get this out as soon as we can. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Have a good weekend reading up. And I know who I'll be doing collectively. So
Exactly.
thanks again for the time.
Thanks, Aaron.